All right, y'all, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business today. Gonna see if it has BSS for either of these two Google searches. So we're back here in the GBC universe. So we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the number one boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, standing for full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pinned video, home video, whatever, somewhere on this profile. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. If our business is rising, if it's growing, we're probably bringing in peeps from this entire spectrum of intent, high intent over on the left, lowest intent over on the right. But if our business is falling, we're missing a chunk of people somewhere. So FSIC will kind of help reorient us what we should be doing. Now here, we only talk about BSS, talk about the highest intent people way over on the left. There's people doing social search and Google search to literally for a boudoir photo shoot in our city right now. Highest intent people closest to the money, easiest to convert. And all the way over on the right, we talk about on our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. We talk about BLCS, and there's the lowest intent people, but it's the highest volume of people that exist out there in our city, people that are not currently searching for a boudoir photo shoot right at this second. So we cover both ends, and in our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, we currently only work with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. So on to BSS. So boudoir search sameness. BSS is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots on page 1 of Google, that means we're on page 2 or deeper. I mean, we're dead, because we know that approximately 80% of all Google searches are page 1 search only. They never even go to page 2. So approximately 80% of the market, the bulk of the market, never even sees page 2, let alone anything deeper. So we got to be on page 1. And guess what? 1 slot on page 1 ain't good enough either, because if we got there's 10 organic slots page 1 or per page on Google. So that means there will most likely be 9 other boudoir photographers all with 1 slot. Well, guess what the buyer's going to do? They're going to click and open everyone's website on page 1, because most likely they ain't going to page 2. So just page 1, contact everyone, get quotes from everyone, and actually, price shop everyone. Everyone's been price shopped against 9 others, and that's not good. It's not good enough. So that is boudoir search sameness. Now, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google is not normal. Yeah, dude, it is not normal to have such few page 1 slots on Google. And it's common, but it's not normal. It's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And the 2 deeper root causes are, one, basically everyone knows about market saturation, and one, basically nobody knows about the false belief of page 1 equality. So market saturation, that's when anyone gets a new iPhone, they throw out their Google My Business profile and their websites, and they now do boudoir photo shoots. Or they get a new camera, and now they start posting in the mom groups on Facebook, saying they now do boudoir photo shoots. So market saturation, usually because of new gear, and more sellers, the same number of buyers, make it difficult for every single seller. Now, there's also a big market saturation that happened with COVID. A lot of people lost their jobs, couldn't work, still had to earn money. Everyone's got a camera on their phone, good camera. So a lot of boudoir photographers came into the market then as well, lowering prices, lowering margins for everyone. And the false belief of page 1 equality, this is actually the number one, from what I've seen, the number one killer of boudoir photography businesses. And this is basically assuming everyone gets, every boudoir photographer is going to get either 0 or 1 slots, page 1 on Google. And yeah, I had 1 slot there on my website, but another boudoir photographer came in ranked above me. And yeah, I'm now on page 2, but nothing we can do. That's simply how it is. I got to accept it. Hopefully, someone deletes their website on page 1 and Google repushes me up. And so this is a false belief. This is not real. What actually is real is Google will give us as many slots on page 1 as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 in 10 days using the methodology I'm going to show in 2 pictures here. So the false belief of page 1 equality, number one killer of boudoir photography business, is because it makes boudoir photography business owners freeze. They don't even know it's a false belief. They don't even know they don't have to accept it. So they kind of don't even break out of the brain cage to look for solutions, because they didn't even know it was a problem that they were believing something false. So false belief of page 1 equality. We also know that a boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Look, dude, if we got boudoir search standards, we got 0 slots on page 1, we're only on page 2 or deeper. approximately only 20% of searches are even seeing us. Yeah, we're disappearing. And that's the canary in the coal mine. Disappearing boudoir photographer means our business is also on the path to disappearing as well. This is the canary in the coal mine, kind of the first signal to us that, oh man, we got to make some big changes fast. Otherwise, if we got one slot on page one, not good enough either. And that's because one person could pop up from the older pages or a new boudoir photographer, kick us off. Now we're on page two. Or even if we stay on page one, we're getting price shopped. We're not standing out. We're being compared to everyone else who also has one link. So we're not standing out. We're not being seen as anything special. So starting our universe here. Disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the two horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. Finally, though, we finally have a solution. We know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology, and we know that because I invented it, and I actually used it to go from 0 out of 10 slots on page one of Google to 9 out of 10 slots on page one on Google in 10 days. Now, S-cubed methodology, we finally got a solution to solve, market saturation, page one equality. And actually, it's the only thing I've ever seen for boudoir photographers that can successfully hold back and outcompete market saturation and actually allow boudoir photographer to continue to grow and scale in the face of market saturation. And the reason for that is, let's say we're in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. There's 1 million boudoir photographers total. Everyone's got a website talking about that they're a boudoir photographer. We're one of those boudoir photographers. And we actually realize, hey man, we got to turn up S-cubed methodology to the max. And the way it works is kind of exactly what the name says. We saturate social search with all the highest intent keywords with us being there. And when that happens, it's kind of like, the small rivers on the backside of the Andes Mountains in South America. When that happens, all those flow into the Amazon. That all flows onto page one of Google. Well, if we get enough density. And so let's say we're saturating the first 300 slots across all social search avenues for the highest intent keywords. That flows onto Google. Let's say we're also, simple example, we're also saturating the first 300 slots in Google for the highest intent keywords in our city. Well, that means when a buyer is searching for a boudoir photo shoot right in their city, it's 10 organic slots per page on Google. So we're occupying the first 30 pages of Google. And the other 999,999 boudoir photographers start on page 31 of Google. Ain't no buyers going to page 31. Nope. Ain't no buyers going there. Which means we're the easiest to find. We're showing up everywhere. We are basically kind of the only one peeps can find an organic Google search. And so guess whose business is still growing in the face of 999,999 other boudoir competitors? Ours. So we're dominating social search, which flows into page one Google search and actually flows into some other places, which we'll hear about at the end. So this S-cubed methodology. This is the only thing that I've seen that can happen, get the results super fast to stave off and overcome market saturation. The only other thing, there is a second option, is brand. But that takes years, potentially even decades to build. We ain't got decades anymore. We need results ASAP. So S-cubed methodology is the only thing that I'm seeing that fits this criteria. Now, once you're with S-cubed methodology, we have page one visibility. A bonus side effect of achieving page one visibility is we are kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. Yeah, that's right. So for every single page one slot we take from a competitor, that we get on Google, we're taking it from a competitor and we're pushing one more competitor off page one. But we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even go to page two. They're page one only searches, which means, yeah, we're getting more slots on Google page one, but guess what? For the 80% bulk of the market that we want to come into us, we're actually disappearing our competitors that we can be price shopped against, and buyers ain't even going to find them. 80% of buyers that we care about ain't even going to find them because they don't go past page one of search. So this is a added bonus of using S-cubed methodology, kicking our competitors out. They got to scroll way farther than 80% ain't scrolling nowhere, and they ain't scrolling past page one. Page one visibility also activates boudoir search visibility for us. Now, this means we're no longer at 0-1 slots on page one. We actually have a GBC recommended minimum of getting to 3 out of 10 slots on page one for boudoir search visibility. That's because if we got 3 out of 10 on page one, basically all our competitors will have 1 out of 10 on page one. And so kind of instinctively, buyers will think, oh, why is Google recommending this person 3 different times? compared to everyone else only once, they're probably really good. I should actually check them out first or be the only person I check out. So we're going to dominate the people that got one slot, which is basically everyone. Very, very rare cases, someone else will have two slots. Extremely rare, but in that extremely rare case, we're dominating them as well. So that's boudoir search visibility. And a boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer. So here's our entire micro universe. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and page one equality. But finally, yes, we do have a solution for this, our S-cubed methodology, which we created. And we achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer, and we have boudoir search visibility. All right, now my results use an S-cubed methodology for myself. So I want to rank for the term BLCS boudoir. So when I use S-cubed methodology because I created it, so I know how to do it. And we see organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Organic slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. And slot 10, me. So I did this in 10 days. I went from 0 out of 10 slots, Google page 1 organic search, to 9 out of 10 slots, Google page 1 organic search in 10 days, purely utilizing S-cubed methodology. Can brand overcome market saturation that fast? There's no time to build a brand. We got AI coming taking people's jobs. There's no time. We're out of time to build a brand. We need a faster solution that gives faster results, get us on page 1 of Google, get us dominating, get us kicking our competitors off. So now we're here to the main event, the main course. Gonna see if this boudoir photographer has BSS for either of these Google searches, so local search and a city search. So let's see. So first look in Gretna, Nebraska. And we got, all right, so we're going to the organic search. So we got 1. Yeah, we got 2. Well, we don't have the word boudoir here. So we don't count that. Slot 3 here, we got boudoir, that counts as 2. Think of micro photography. Okay, we'll count the 2 without the boudoir. We'll count that as 1. So we got 3 out of 10 slots. Here we go. 4 out of 10 slots. Here's a boudoir. Here's a one that has boudoir on it, and boudoir right there. 5. And then we got and then let's see. Looks like we got 6 here actually. So we got 6 out of 10 for local search. So this is super amazing. And all right, so local search is perfect. And now we're going to go to city search, Omaha, Nebraska. So we're going to go down to the organic. Let's see how many we got local search as well. First for the city search. See what we got. All right, we got nope, 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 nope. No. All right, so it looks like, all right, dude, we're literally pulling in 0 peeps from Omaha. So we literally got 0 out of 10. So we definitely got BSS for the second search, the city search. But so Gretna, no BSS. We actually hit the GBC minimum, at least 3 out of 10. And Omaha, Nebraska, we're not hitting the, we do have BSS and we're not hitting the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've got BSS, you did your local search and your city search, and you saw, you only got, you got either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google, and or you have not hit the GBC minimum, recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1. And you understand the page 1 equality belief, and now you're like, oh yeah, obviously that's false, when we didn't really even think about it before, because now we see how I got 9 out of 10. on page one on Google, organic search results. And you understand the market saturation? Yeah. New iPhones, new boudoir photographers, new camera, new boudoir photographers. But you're also seeing AI take more and more people's jobs, and you're like, okay, like COVID brought in a flood of boudoir photographers. AI is taking more people's jobs, probably going to bring in a flood of boudoir photographers as well. So you want to prepare for the influx of supply of sellers by kind of fortifying your page one Google presence. So essentially, never allow those people joining to show up page one on Google. And you see SQ's methodology, and you're like, yes, finally, I've been waiting for something like this. So you know you want to use SQ's methodology to achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer, achieve boudoir search visibility. And also you want the back-end bonuses of using SQ's methodology as well, which we haven't talked about yet, we'll talk about now, which is we're basically building thematic keyword columns via social and on Google that are kind of columns plugged into our brand, our basically the name of our business, our social handles. And those thematic keyword columns, guess what? They increase the probability we show up here in the AI overview. They increase the probability we show up in AI search like ChatGPT search, Claude search, Perplexity search, Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search. Increasing the probability there. And last time I did ChatGPT search for boudoir photographers in the city, recommended me, it only gave me 3. And AI search is increasing every single day, more and more people use an AI search every single day. Still, Google is about 90% search volume, but we're kind of pre-positioning ourselves AI search, which SQ methodology helps with. And kind of once we build this kind of back-end invisible momentum, these thematic keyword columns that plug into all these, basically prevent people ranking on page one against us and build up keep building up and increase our probability of showing up across all these AI searches. And you decide you want to be a first mover because this has got to get done. Start building up this momentum because again, ads momentum goes to 0 when you stop spending. This momentum will continue ongoing. Basically, these have momentum, not infinite momentum, but you decide you want to start the momentum, then keep growing the momentum, actually dominate page one. And you also see that the further you put yourself ahead of the competition now, when AI starts basically kind of forcing people to become boudoir photographers, you'll be well positioned to be unaffected by it because you've already built up page one domination, which is like, dude, that's like seven out of 10 slots or more. Page one Google, 8 out of 10 slots or more. And being recommended AI search, putting distance between you and everyone else. And you want to basically guarantee that you put so much distance, nobody can catch up. Instead of a competitor working with me, where plan right now is to only work with one person per city. Instead of a competitor getting all these kind of momentum bonuses and page one slots where then you would have to actually, if I were to continue work with them, you would have to rederive the S-cubed methodology on your own, figure out how to actually get it to work. And then you will never actually know if you're doing it correctly, how we've done it. And then you'd have to equal our output to maintain the distance kind of behind your competitor that I could be working with. And you'd have to kind of double our output to actually make up that lost ground and build back up the momentum and take it from us. So you decided, well, it's better to simply become the first mover here. So we get all the benefits, none of the drawbacks. So if you want all these benefits, shoot me a DM when I open for new patient intake. I'm not currently open for new patient intake, so even if you want to work with me, you cannot. But when I do open up the hospital for new patient intake, shoot me a DM and we will see if you qualify.